Okay, so my friends, the whole thing we're doing part 2 now. The whole thing in this average rate of change is about using the formula for average rate of change. So first of all, let's put our f of q. We have f of q, which is 144. We need that function minus q squared. We need to have the function for us to be able to calculate the average rate of change. Now remember, the average rate of change, we are going to say average rate of change, okay? Rate of change is going to be equal to f of q2, okay, minus f of q1 all over q2 minus q1. This is our ability to use this is going to be very important, right? So we can, because it is the change in y over change in x, you can put that it is change in y over change in x, which leads to this, okay? That is up to you if you want to do that. So here we have it like this. And here we have it like change in y over change in x. So now what you can do is, you may not want to write it twice to say average rate of change, but you know that this is where it's going. Whenever they say average, find the average rate of change, which is what they said. Look at part A. They said find the average rate of change. So the moment they say that, you have to use this formula. So the idea is, you just know you need a, depending, this is an f of q, so it means you need a q1 and a q2. And you f of q1 and f of q2. So you are going to go and just say, let's rewrite. So this is u with a pencil, the things we are writing in black. So let's rewrite the order. So you just come and say f of q, this is u. You have seen that they've asked for average rate of change. So you know you need a q1 and a q2. So you say f of q is equal to 144 minus q squared. Then you're going to come and say, let q1, they would have given you, be equal to 4,000. They say it's between 4,000 and 4,100. You say let q1 be equal to this, and q2 be equal to 4,100. So now you would say f of q1 will be equal to 144 minus 4,000 squared. What do I get here? Negative 15,999,856. So you can now say f of q2. You skip 2 lines and say f of q2 is equal to 144. You can, I think I jumped. I would say f of q1, I should say f of q1 is equal to 144 minus q1 squared. And then I can put my f of q1, it's f of 4,000. This is going to be equal to this. F of q2 is 144 minus q2 squared. Because when I say q2, then there should be a q2 here. And when I say f of now q2 is 4,100, that means where there is q, I'm putting 4,100. So it's 1 minus 4,100. all squared, okay? Then I would get my solution. So let's put, what am I going to get as the solution here? Now, what am I going to get? And here I just get negative 16,809,856, right? Now I'll come and say average rate of change. The moment I have these two, I can now do it. I'll now say average rate of change. It is going to be equal to change in y over change in x, which is going to be equal to f of q2 minus f of q1 divided by q2 minus q1. Change in y, f of q2 minus f of q1. Change in x, q2 minus q1. What am I going to get now? F of q2 is negative 16,809,856 minus negative, remember it's minus, then you put the other one, which is going to be negative 15,999. So let me write it better. So this is going to be negative 16,809,856 minus negative 15,999,856. 999,856 over 4,100 minus 4,000. So this becomes, you put it in the calculator, you should get negative 8,100 as your final solution, okay? When you put in the calculator, you can start by doing the top, then you get an answer, then you do the bottom, you get an answer, you divide, you should get 8,100, and this would be my final solution. I've already done it. I found the average rate of change. There we go, and we can go to the last one now, but you can see that they're all the same. This is the formula. It's all on you remembering this formula, okay? You have to. It's a must. You have to remember it. Okay, you have to remember this formula for average rate of change. And that is it. Goodbye for now. See you in the next one.